你要容易做的自己的人家红错，人贴出都容先到我们呢，古到大家都知道多一种字，古大家叫那多字都举例错，那么论被话 Herman Frank， 么呢古也叫 Herman， 大家了他做要还装的一考 case 切，可能都地图 lawyer Herman Frank 天女。巴布我要的好了，路举例错，路这呢，了古到 file 一考 lawsuit 切 against รัฐบาลรอในสมุขตือที่เปลี่ยนกุมาเจ้าในลอนจีแฟรงค์เฮอร์แมน
要用这一种呢，这个定价贴中偏毛出寸速度，古要为做法的话，要做用到古叫呢，我ใช้这给西坦叫做 Herman Frank， 要一度举例错，要做用从 Sacramento 圣 California， นึกตัวฟงจงฟื้นหล่อจัว要ตัวที่หล่อจัวเกฟงจงฟื้นหล่อจัว要ตัว用到要ตัวฟงจ่อเดียจงฟื้นหล่อจัวต้องมัวเกจิจ่อให้เนี่ยมุ่งหล่อตอนต่อชาเนี่ยปล่อยจงรู้ชงเกฟงตัวกี่นอตัวต่อแต่งเจยมัวชื่อชี要ตัวรู้อ้อลินตัวนึกติเปย์ชงอาศัยกโจ要ตัวเนี่ย Federal Court 要ตัวตรง Sacramento 圣 California 要ปีตัวตัวโกตั้งเชิญจ่อจนสิ่งเรากูจะนำมาใช้จ่อเทว่าตรงต่อ Herman Frank ชิตาจ่อเดียเกฟงเนี่ย
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and now I'd like to take you into a new chapter in a so-called Hmong lawyer, Herman Frank. Welcome again.
Thank you.
Yes, hi. Just got that name, like a Hmong lawyer.
Hmong lawyer, that's me.
I know a lot of people were talking about like, well, you know, Frank, everybody know Frank now, but not Herman. So today I'd like to tell you his first name is Herman Frank.
That's right.
All right.
Herman Frank. Nice to meet you all.
Yes. So let me understand a little bit about the new civil case.
Okay.
And this is based on how many pages this? Like 45, 46, 47, 48 pages. I want to show you guys this. It's a civil case on behalf of the Hmong One, which is a fictitious name, against no one else but against the Laos People Democratic Republic or the government of Laos.
Yes.
This is huge. And in this lawsuit, it even named the representative of the country of the Laos, the country of Laos, which is the Chomali Sayason, president of Laos, and Prime Minister Thong Sing Thamavong, Prime Minister of Laos, Dr. Bunkert Sang Somsak, I don't have their Lao spelling, so Minister of Justice of Laos, Lieutenant General Sang Nuan Sayalat, I believe, which is a Minister of Defense, and Thong Bat Sing Kapon, Minister of Public Security, Lao General Bun Jan, and the country of Laos. Now, I heard about this, and that's the whole reason we'd like you to come in and maybe perhaps explain a little bit. Now, Herman, can you tell me a little bit about this case?
Yes. This, by the way, goes very much kind of hand in hand with the other case in this regard. Part of the point of what the defendants in the criminal case got caught up in is an overall effort to solve the problem of the what I call the atrocities in Laos.
Okay.
So they were coming forward saying, you know, one wanted to do a documentary. Even if we can't solve it, let's film it. You know, that was the idea. Okay,
right.
Just preserve it.
Right.
But there's a general concept here is what can we do about that? There was an effort where they went to the United Nations and they gave quite a bit of evidence and information to the UN.
Sure.
The UN actually listened to it. There were some efforts where Ed, you mentioned him before,
sure.
He went out there and there was some work done on that.
Under the fact findings?
Yeah, and all this good work was done, but unfortunately, to make a long story short, nothing happened. I mean, in Laos. It didn't change Laos. I mean, they did everything before, they don't do anything. When I figured all that out, I was aware from law research I've done of a very odd US statute that it's called the Alien Tort Claims Act. And it's an old statute. It permits a person to sue a person who is in violation of a treaty or international law. These are the requirements of it. And that's one of the reasons you'll notice in the complaint that we allege
yes.
what treaties were violated and specifically how they were violated.
Okay.
And what the bottom line is that this statute allows for a Hmong victim of what the Laotian government is doing to the Hmong people, what they have done and what they are continue to doing. It's ongoing.
Okay.
What this lawsuit does is it permits us to sue the Laos government to request money damages for what they did.
Before we go into a, not a detail, but a lot of info from this particular civil suit. So this is a class action lawsuit.
Yes.
On behalf of Hmong One, and it's a fictitious name. And can you explain what is Hmong One and use as fictitious name, and what's the reason behind it?
The reason, the idea is this. First of all, the law allows people coming forward in a case in a sort of dangerous situation to use.
And in this case, very dangerous.
Very dangerous. You can use a fictitious name. Okay. You know, fictitious, it just means fake.
Okay.
But it's kind of like you're saying something fake to the court, but you're telling them it's fake. Okay. So you're not saying like, my name is Hmong One. We're saying Hmong One is a real person.
Okay.
But we're not stating her true name, because if we did, we believe she would be sought out by Laotian government and killed. Sure. And so and that will give us a basis to use Hmong One.
Okay. And my next question, of course, is what made you as a lawyer in the United States have enough evidence or sufficient solid evidence that you can file a lawsuit against a country such as Laos? And as we know, Laos is a communist country. And the second part of the question is, where do you file this lawsuit? Is it at the federal court? What federal court? Is it international court? Tribunal court? What can you tell us a little bit about?
Well, the court, you'll notice right here,
yes.
It's the same Sacramento court as my other case.
Right.
So it's right here in Sacramento.
So a federal court.
It's a federal court, U.S. District Court, Eastern District of California, located right here in Sacramento. The law doesn't say where I have to bring this, so we were open, and I thought, well, then let's do it where I am.
Okay.
And that, so it's convenient to me.
Okay.
And that makes it easier because it's right by my office.
And can this lead into, like, for example, like Cambodia or other country that they have, filed suit and criminal and civil suit and bring such the people or representative of the country of Laos that I read their name earlier into say a tribunal war court?
We submitted this to the War Crimes Tribunal in The Hague. We submitted it.
You did?
We did. And whether they take it or not, I don't know.
Okay.
But we have given it to them.
And when did you submit that?
About 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've had it. We also have this submitted before the United Nations in Geneva. They have a commission on civil rights.
Okay.
And one of my contacts, Mr. Lee, got me involved in this, and he filed a petition there that I am now his counsel on, that says what is going on against the Hmong people in Laos violates the peace treaty made at the end of the Vietnam War. And I thought it was a very smart idea. It's sort of like there's still a war on. There's a war against the Hmong. And you asked me about my evidence.
Yes.
One of the videos I obtained, the people helping me are very happy to give me stuff. Hunted like animals. I don't know if you know this video, but it's like, oh my God, it's so, and I'll tell you,
it's a documentary.
Yeah, and it's scary.
It's scary.
It's scary. It's just, frankly, it's so real.
And you said you talked to Ed Zendry, so you got some of his video.
Yeah, he gave me a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
And what I'm convinced by that, there's been quite a bit of journalistic study on it as well. Time Magazine did an article on it.
I see.
There's some data given that after the Vietnam War, something like 300,000 Hmong that were connected either by a person who was in what's called the U.S. Secret Army.
Sure.
We actually, I didn't, when Ed told me that, I thought he was using like a slang.
No,
but he
it's
said,
not.
no, that's the name of the army.
Right.
U.S.
Well, that I
Secret
know for
Army.
sure.
And that was a real army that was Hmong only, and asked, through the CIA.
Sure.
Well, anybody connected with that army after the war was done had to go into the jungle of Laos, because if you walk downtown, you'd just be killed. Well, the documentary shows that there was just a total genocide. And what I want to tell you is that according to the data now, there's something like maybe 2,000 left. What I've learned is that they'll go out with firepower, basic military. It's a military operation. They got helicopters, they got jeeps, they got machine guns, and if they see a Hmong person in the jungle, they'll just shoot them dead. And it's standing orders, shoot them all.
It's genocide.
It's a genocide, and it's an intentional genocide. One of the things that Ed pointed out to me, and I've quoted it in the complaint, there was a statement made, we will exterminate the Hmong to their root. And what I understood, what he understood it to mean, it meant it's kind of like 3 generations. You want to kill not only the guy that was fighting for the USA, but you want to kill his children. And if he's got a brother, you want to kill the brother too. And if he's got a sister, you kill her.
Everybody connected.
Everybody connected. You kill it down to the root.
To me and to us as a Hmong television program, when we heard about this, it's like, is he really crazy? But can you explain a little bit about the craziness of bringing such a huge case against a communist country? Well, that the United States actually recently developed a diplomatic tie with.
We do have a diplomatic tie, just like we have a diplomatic tie, to Vietnam.
Right.
I've been to Vietnam, and it's hard to believe we ever had a war with them. Where you go there now, and they're all like, "Hey, American guy, what's going on?" I mean, they're really sweet. It's hard. I have not been to Laos, but I have friends that have been there, and I think in the same way, if I went to Laos right now, they would be polite, sweet. It would just look like a beautiful country.
Sure.
And if I didn't know the story of the Hmong, I would have no idea of what's going on out there. I just would not know, but I do know. From one of the evidences that I saw that I was most persuaded by in Hunted Like Animals, the documentary lays it all out very nicely. Ed is kind of a witness to some extent of a lot of it. I had him give me all the evidence, and there's quite a bit of evidence, mainly in the form of Hmong people that are found dead. And in the jungle area, and we know that the Laos people, the military, is seeking them out.
So I'm sure there are a lot to talk about, and I'm sure there's things that you have gathering enough to file such a lawsuit. But my question to you is, how long does it take, or how long do you expect it will take into some sort of compromise, into some sort of settlement?
Well,
you talk about months, years, 10 years?
First of all, I don't plan on any kind of settlement with the Laotian government. I cannot imagine them ever coming forward saying, okay, we'll pay you money, sorry. I just can't imagine it.
Okay.
So I don't go into it thinking they'll settle. But one thing I would like you to know, you have, by the way, this document you have here is the complaint we filed. But the other document I want to show you is this one right here, is an affidavit of process server. And this is a process server that I hired, and it shows that he served the legal counsel of the Laotian embassy in Washington, D.C. Okay.
And they actually signed it.
And yes, they got it.
They got the copy.
So what I want you to know, a very interesting thing.
And this is in November 18, 2015
That's the
4
date.
p.m.
So the summons requires them to answer it in 21 days. This is a copy of the summons right here.
Right.
And you'll see the paragraph here is within 21 days after service. Okay, exclusive of the day of service. So you start counting on the 19th.
On the 19th.
And let me just tell you, it's been more than 21 days.
And they
did not answer, right.
Okay.
So as a result, we will be taking a default against the Laotian government.
For not responding within a reasonable...
Within 21 days.
Within 21 days.
Yeah. Now,
where does the 21 day came from anyway?
Federal government rule.
Okay.
I mean, state law is 30. So I don't know where 21 comes from, but it used to be 20.
Okay.
And then they moved
Now
it to
it's
21. I don't, whatever.
But they did sign that they received
Yes.
this copy of the lawsuit.
Right here.
Right. And
Right there. They got it.
and it's
And they
signed
did-
by Lao General Bun Jan
Well, this is to everybody.
to everybody.
Yeah, and the
Oh, okay, I see.
We got it right here to the Democratic Republic.
Right.
That's who he took it on behalf of. We only serve the government.
The government. on
So now, the other thing we've learned, though, recently, which is a good thing, is we found some federal cases that allow us to serve the other defendants by FedEx.
this, by FedEx
So on Friday, I sent it out a FedEx to the president.
of Laos.
Yeah, so he'll get it like today or tomorrow or something.
You think he'll sign it?
Let's see.
Let's see.
Let's see. I'll get it on
Wow.
FedEx. You know, it'll
Wow,
come back.
that's
to me.
why it's so amazing that
Yeah.
when we heard about the case, like I got to talk to Herman about this.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I'll
and-
tell
and
you-
when we see all of these things, it's not like amateur. This is serious stuff.
Serious
this is
stuff,
very
right.
serious.
Right.
To the Hmong people though, it's life and death, and bringing such a lawsuit, it's never heard of. So my next question to you would be, what really motivate you and think that you can actually have a way to file a lawsuit against the Lao government? Why no one thought of this the last 40 years?
I don't know why. This law has been there since like the 1780s.
See.
The law I'm coming under, I will tell you. And guys like Marcos of the Philippines, he got sued under this, the whole regime.
Okay.
You know, I'm sure you heard about all these war crimes in former Yugoslavia.
Sure, yes.
And what they were doing there, it was terrible. You know,
Sure.
they were using rape as a weapon of war. Well, that violates the Geneva Convention. There was a lawsuit in New York against all these Serbian people doing that.
Oh,
And
okay.
the same kind of case. And so the law has been there. And I don't know, I think part of the dilemma is I don't think anyone ever looked at that alternative. Everyone was thinking, let's go to the United Nations. They're going to help us. Let's go to the President of the United States. They're going to help us. And the fact is they didn't. I'm a little bit surprised that there hasn't been more help to the Hmong people.
I see.
I don't get it. I don't really understand it. So when I first heard that whole mess, I think in the first discussion, right away I saw my first case as that one, but there was the bigger issue about why they were sitting in that RV in the first place. Which is like, they know their brothers and sisters and cousins are being slaughtered. And they want to put an end to it. And they want to bring justice to it. They want.
And this is kind of a connection. Actually, this is the main connection to the case, to that case.
Totally connected.
Totally connected.
Totally connected. So I decided I would do it, but I needed a plaintiff. I need a person who has lost either a child or a spouse in this environment. And I now have one. So Mr. Lee helped me on that with Hmong
Well,
one.
that's good.
I now have one. And by the way, let me also say I have another one that's come up since then.
Oh, I
so
see.
there is a Hmong 2.
As a reporter, and as what we know about the Hmong, and Hmong myself and part of the group, we know there are a lot, but a lot of people, not just one or two, but the question is, how many people actually willing to get involved personally, directly with the case? What do you think?
Well, somebody needs to be brave, and because it does sound crazy. I know exactly how you're thinking, and they need to be brave and kind of give it. I want to describe it as a leap of faith. Put faith in our U.S. justice system. It has a statute for the Hmong people. But the way our system works, you need to invoke it. In other words, our government isn't going to come forward and do this for you.
You have to invoke it.
You got to make it happen. And the way you make it happen is with this right here, a complaint.
Exactly.
This is how you invoke the law.
That is what I talked to you last time. I remember you told me that by Hmong go and have a big parade or protest or so on and so forth, it's good, but only bring the attention. But in the United States, they actually have weapons such as lawsuit. And that's exactly what you told me last time.
And it's a very powerful weapon. Laos is about to learn about it because tomorrow I am filing an application for a default judgment against them.
Okay. For not respond within 21 days. And you also sending the Federal Express, you said?
Yeah.
To the President of Laos.
And Prime Minister.
And Prime Minister.
We sued the President, Prime Minister, Minister of Justice.
Right.
And the Minister of Public Security, who's basically the top police officer.
Correct.
And the concept we have there, this was all, and the general who made the statement, we will exterminate them to the root. He was the primary one assigned the job to really do the annihilation. We've learned, for example, that the Ministry of Justice is involved because they needed to have a legal system that would permit this. You know, in most countries, if you murder a person, you're on trial for murder.
Sure.
And Ed...
Not in Laos.
Well, in Laos, you know, Ed is a former, as you know, investigator for DA's office for a long time, and we were talking about this as sort of USA law people. But if I walk to Laos, if I go into downtown Vientiane right now in Laos, and I shoot a person,
then you'll be arrested.
I'm going to be arrested.
Right.
They're going to take me to, and we actually cite in here their criminal code.
Sure.
Murder is against the law in Laos. There's a, you know, and you know what? I got news for you. Most countries have a rule against murder.
Sure.
It's not just a weird little law that we have. Everyone has that. And I don't care how, even North Korea probably has a murder law.
Sure.
Okay, no matter how like communist it may be.
I see.
Okay, so they needed to relax the murder law on Hmong people. So here's the law of Laos. It goes like this. Murder is against the law unless it's a Hmong guy who has some connection to the U.S. secret army.
I see.
What I've been hearing about is the main issue is that they are just so angry that the Hmong people help the USA side. I don't...
It is 40 years now. Herman, do you think the Laos government would forgive the Hmong and the Hmong would forgive the Laos government for doing that, you think?
Yeah, I think the Laos government...
And move forward? Remember the Nazi and the Jews and history.
Well, in the example of the Nazis, the German people have apologized, have fully acknowledged, have made reparations. They may never live it down, but they've done the following. Yes, we did it. They've confessed. In fact, in Germany, it is actually a crime to be, you know, there's some people who are Holocaust deniers. There's some that say it never happened. In Germany, it's a crime just to say that. And Germany is a country with freedom of speech. And I mean, we have freedom of speech here that even allows you to be a Nazi. In Germany, if you show the Nazi sign on something, you're going to jail. They just will not tolerate it. They're like, no, not in this. You just cannot do it. I point out that what we want is the kind of justice, a very similar kind of justice. We want Laos to admit what they did.
Okay, that's my next question would be, yes, what do you seeking or what the remedies are for this case? I mean, what you're seeking from the Laos government, like you said earlier, it's not monetary.
No, it is monetary.
It is monetary.
It is monetary.
Okay.
It's, first of all, it's money. You get compensation for losing. You know, there's one of the things I put in here is if you lost a loved one, you get compensation for that.
Sure.
The amount of that money, you know, it's kind of hard for me to imagine what they might do because they'll probably structure it based on the Laos economy. So like a wrongful death case in USA, you can get $500,000, you can get $1 million. It depends on the relationship. It depends on things, but a jury would award that.
Sure.
I don't know what they do when they think about awarding someone, like imagine having $1 million in Laos, right? I think you'd be doing pretty well, right?
Sure.
Okay, so we will let the jury figure that out though. Okay. Bottom line, that'll be a jury decision.
Now, can you, I'm sure all of our audience are not completely understand the whole case and so, you know, same thing with us. Can you walk us through a little bit and say now the status of the current case and then what's the expectation of the case and where would it go? How would this case end up being somewhere, somehow?
Well, first of all, the status will take an interesting change tomorrow because we're applying for a default.
Okay.
And a default happens when you don't answer the complaint. So if somebody sues you and you don't answer, they win. It's kind of like, hey, you got to answer the complaint.
Like we go to court, if you got a, like a traffic ticket, if the cops not show,
or you win.
You win.
That's right.
Okay.
Cop doesn't, it's kind of like a default.
I just want to give
right. By the way, I want you to know, though, they've fixed that problem by allowing the admissibility of the ticket itself now.
Oh, I see.
That's not so simple anymore, I'm afraid to tell you.
Okay.
But what this is about is that Laos government did not answer. And they need to. And I think I think their attitude is probably similar to how you've expressed this. This is crazy.
Right.
You can't possibly be serious about suing us.
If I'm telling people right now, they probably say the same thing.
Well, I think this is what the Laos embassy probably told. Their Office of General Counsel received this thing. I'm sure they didn't just.
And they did. Right.
They got it.
Proved that they did.
They signed it, and they didn't respond.
Right.
I think someone must have said something like, "This case, there's no way that they can possibly get any money from us. This is crazy." And so they just ignore it. So they've ignored it. So I'll apply for a default. They'll see about it.
Okay. So what you seeking from what I understand, is it monetary and what?
Monetary and injunctive relief. Injunctive relief means stop.
Don't do it again.
Right. Don't do it anymore.
Any apology you're asking for? Any perhaps like?
It's interesting.
Officially apology to certain group of people?
This is all about accountability.
Accountability.
So
okay.
we can hold them accountable, but it's interesting. The way the law works, they will assess damages against you, but they won't say you must apologize.
Okay.
There's no provision in the law to require that. But I hope Laos will do that. So we'll see. I don't know if they will or won't. I hope they will, but I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see what they do. I expect them to avoid this. The Marcos regime did it. They just avoided it. It was a default case.
And for how long? Marco of
it was
Philippines.
but it was like yeah. And he murdered a lot of people.
Right.
I don't know if you read about this crazy stuff he did. So he was guilty of violating this law. I mean, absolutely guilty. I think the amount they won was 680 million.
680 million. Did they actually got paid?
Yeah. They got some. Marcos was a very rich man, and so he had money that they found.
Do you think the president of Laos and the prime minister of Laos and the folks that you name in here are very rich?
I have no idea.
No idea.
I have no idea. I think probably yes. I think most presidents of communist countries tend to be rich.
Okay.
That's just kind of the nature of it. But I got the Laos as a government in there too. I don't really expect Laos to be rich. I don't look at Laos as a rich country.
Regardless.
Yeah. So, but I think what I'm hoping, whether we really collect money on this, we'll see.
Okay.
But I hope we bring about, it kind of reminds me of the plight, the Armenians have with the Turkish government.
I see.
Armenia claims a genocide that the Turkish people did long ago. And Turkey will not acknowledge it, will not do anything about it. It's like, it's a real hot subject over there. And they just won't do what Armenia would like, which is admit you did it. I mean, if it happened, the good news is Armenia will be fine. The people of Armenia are fine. They got, they were able to stand back up and get going. And in a way, the Hmong people left in the jungle, there's only 2,000 left. From what I understand, Hmong people are allowed to walk the streets of Laos as long as they weren't involved in that secret war. So you could walk around there and not get hurt.
In fact, we got hundreds of thousands of Hmong walking the street of Laos.
Right.
Currently.
Without a problem.
Without a problem.
It's just the ones that went into the jungle. Now, I don't know how you tell the difference between the two. I mean, if you're one of those in a jungle and you come out of the jungle and you just start walking down the street, how do they know who's who there? I don't know. That's what I don't get.
See.
But
Okay.
I think that they got it down to a couple thousand, and I would like to see some way to get those people to safety. I don't know what exactly can be done.
Quite a few things that we already talked about, but so you are basically working, gathering more evidence to build this case. At the same time, that you already have sufficient amounts of evidence that you decide to file the civil suit. But if anyone has info or video footage or anything like that, you said they can contact you?
Yeah, I wish they would. I'm looking for eyewitnesses.
Eyewitnesses.
It's really what I'd like. I'd like someone to be able to say, I saw a Laotian soldier kill a Hmong person.
Okay.
That's really the whole sentence I'm looking for.
I see.
You know, that would be it.
All right. So
By the way, I'd like to point out something about this complaint that I figured out when I started looking into it, and it was explained as I've been educating myself, what I call the atrocities in Laos. Let's make sure we understand what we're talking about. There was a mass murder of anybody connected to the U.S. secret force. Anybody, you know, down to the root, meaning babies, meaning little children. Ed showed me a picture of this lovely 9-year-old Hmong girl. And then the next day, there's a picture of her dead.
Right.
He said, I was just talking to her. Next day, dead, just like that.
Did you see that video that Ed gave it to you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Unbelievable stuff. And it's just scary. And I don't know
all
what...
the guts came out and all the different...
all this stuff, you know, it's like how could Laos be filled with such hate toward Hmong people? That's the part I don't get. But not only that, though, but they would typically rape the women. So and that's why I've been citing these, their published decisions about the case against the former Yugoslavia, Serbia, for that same issue, using rape as a tool of war. That's a violation of the treaty. That I have a published decision saying if you can prove they did that, you win. Okay, so the other one, though, is this disembowelment thing is really weird. They would, as you're saying, they would cut the people open. Also, though,
in fact, that was a video presented to the Hmong community from facts findings.
The other thing, though, is they poisoned the entire environment of Laos. I mean, it's a shame. You know, interestingly, when we did our research on the criminal code of Laos, one of the criminal codes they have, it is against the law to destroy the forest, the jungle. It's a crime. It's a great law. Well, they are obviously guilty of destroying their own jungle because what they did was they poisoned it. And they've dumped stuff. There are eyewitness reports of dumping powders from the sky that come on down and just kill everything. The entire ecosystem, the water, the food, the trees, if you get it on you. So the people have been dying not just by gunshot wound, but also if you go drink water in the wrong place, you're going to die. And there's a lot of, it just kind of wiped out everybody.
Okay, well now, Frank, the last thing I'd like to just ask you is that from the first time I spoke to you last time, which it's about the case against the U.S. government and the agents with the other case, but now it comes to this case. I wonder what did the new civil case made you change of your thinking about the Laos government? Did it made you aware a lot more about the Hmong people and their plights and their sufferings and things like that? Can you share a little bit what and I was hoping that wise motivated you to take on such a huge case.
Well, let me first tell you that I saw this the first time I saw this case, the one with Mr. Decker of ATFE. That is when I got introduced to this case.
Right. And
it has been I have tried to get a plaintiff to go forward. I've been working on that for years, trying to get somebody. Nia has been helping me a lot on that. I've gone to some of these meetings. I've been talking to the right people. They have a committee that just couldn't bring it forward.
Couldn't agree to bring it forward.
I don't know what the problem was. I didn't even understand it. And they delayed it. They put me off for months and months and months. And I remember Neen and we finally figured it out. Forget the committee, forget all that stuff. Get me a mom. You remember I told you, I want a mom who lost a son. What I got instead, I got a wife who lost a husband. That works. Okay, so I got one. Okay, and now we can do it. If I had found her 2 years ago, but you see this decision, you see this 12 right here, that's the file date. If I had gotten that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I would have filed this 2 or 3 years ago. I've been waiting, and I finally got one. So it's not that I've recently figured it out. I figured this out 3 years ago.
Okay.
I just been looking for a plaintiff.
Wow.
I got
Okay.
one.
Well,
And by the way, like this is how things go. I knew it would happen this way. If I got one, I would get another.
we talked about last time.
I got another one.
Right.
I got a second one. There is a Hmong too. I'm going to name anybody who's a plaintiff. We're not going to use their real name. We're going to use Hmong 1, Hmong 2, Hmong 3. I think I actually have a total of 3 new ones coming in for a total of 4.
Total of 4. Hmong 1, Hmong 2, Hmong 3, and Hmong 4.
Right.
Which is on behalf of the fictitious name for the Hmong.
Right. That means a real person.
The real person.
Who has lost a loved one.
Okay.
That's it.
Wow, I don't know where to start, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm just so happy, Herman, today that you come in and actually share a little bit about the new civil case against the Laos government, as well as give us the follow-up on the civil case against the United States government and the agent. So I guess at this point, a lot of Hmong will be surprised. A lot probably go like, what happened in the past 40 years? Why wouldn't anyone thought of this?
Right.
And then also, they're probably going to, we're going to list your number and then your office number, and they're probably going to call you.
I just want to say one thing. This is why communist governments is very common under a communist regime. That one of the first things they do, they eliminate the whole legal profession. If you don't have people like me around, then you don't have anything to worry about if you're like one of these people. This is why they don't like lawyers, because we do this stuff. And in USA is a land where we got a whole lot of lawyers. You know, a lot of people, if you go to China, I've spent a lot of time in China. There are a lot of people in China, they don't even, what do you mean lawyer? What is that? You know, what do you do?
What do you do?
Oh, we go to court and argue on behalf of defendants who are accused of crimes. Oh God, we wouldn't do that here.
Oh, okay.
You just go to jail. You know, you don't have a lawyer saving you. You confess, you go to jail, end of story. So it's really a question of just following, I would say, the USA culture. This is a law culture we have. And this country was built by lawyers. It's controlled by lawyers. They are the people that know how to make the laws. Now, these laws have already been made for me. I'm not the guy who made them. I'm just invoking them.
Just invoking them.
But you need someone like that to invoke them.
Sure. Well, last word. Any last word for our audience?
I want you to know that to get justice in the United States, you have to play by the USA rules. Those rules require evidence, and you can't avoid it. I need witnesses, I need photographs, I need whatever I can get. Now, I've got stuff. Hmong 1 is a witness. I do have witnesses. I do have photos. I want more. And so if anyone has stuff, please contact us. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Herman, for coming today and share quite interesting new cases along as the follow-up case. So we hope to speak to you soon to follow up on these cases and perhaps Hmong 1, 2, and 3, and 4.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Let's see how it goes. Thank you.
Thank you.
一种的这个定价，贴中朋友们说从做到讲中一点，中标呢有比海呢到路20度的北上啊这个州，比头高等选择呢种的 Federal Court 呢种Sacramento San California，古要为这话的话，那个种的做人做到，被嘛心知道。